Now, you know, I really do have a very good job, but some days, well, they just turn out being a little better than some other days. On this edition of Test Drive, the Porsche 911 Turbo S. At the Paris Motor Show in 1974, Porsche unleashed the 911 Turbo. 2 years later, it arrived here. Since then, it's undergone too many changes to list. However, each new model has ushered in a new level of performance. This long-held tradition continues with the latest 911 Turbo S. It's faster and more civilized than ever before. Now, in the past, I've never really been a fan of 911 interiors. This one, on the other hand, it is the model of modern luxury, and it's got all of the mod cons. There are, however, two important buttons. The first one is here, the sports response button. When you push it, for the next 20 seconds, everything goes to hyper. Now you breathe on the gas pedal, you're gone. The other one is right here. Now that is the traction control button. You leave it on out of respect for this car until you get to the track. The Turbo S is powered by a prodigious 3.8-litre twin-turbo flat six. This version adopts larger variable vane turbochargers capable of blowing the air into the engine at 22.5 psi. This and an improved air intake system with larger intercoolers sees the horsepower skyrocket to 640, which is 60 horsepower more than before. It also means there's just 2.6 kilograms of car for each of the stampeding stallions. Factor in the stump-pulling 590 pound-feet of torque, which is up 37, and you have a blinder. Not only does the engine sing the right note when it's worked to the max, it proved to be remarkably civilized when the throttle was not wide open. Few supercar engines are quite as flexible or civilized. Now, it goes without saying that the 911 is quick, but this Turbo S is extremely so. 2.6 seconds to 100k. But you know, that's not what impresses. What does? 10.5 seconds to do the quarter mile? That pretty much says it all. The engine works with a new 8-speed twin-clutch transmission to drive all four wheels. The new box not only has a lower first gear, which helps performance, it works at the top end to improve fuel economy. The key is the design has lightning-fast shifts that do not interrupt the flow of power, so the performance curve remains totally linear. The all-wheel drive system has been beefed up so it can now send up to 368 pound-feet of torque to the front axle when it's needed. It works with an electromagnetic clutch to shift the torque between the axles, and it has torque vectoring at the rear. Let's just say the combination works to perfection. Now, this 911 has got a really neat new wet mode. Up underneath the front fenders are sensors. Now, when these things sense the car running through water, it tells the driver you might want to select wet mode. When the driver does so, the car then uses everything in its arsenal, from the active aerodynamics to torque vectoring, to deliver the very best traction. Now, the good news in all of this is that it does that without completely robbing you of power. The speeds at which one tends to attack a corner demands nothing less than truly tenacious dynamics. The Turbo S adopts a setup that just never seems to run out of grip. The adaptive suspension adjusts the damping several hundred times a second, and it does so at each wheel. The setup also works with active anti-roll bars. The optional sport suspension then takes the good and makes it better. It also lowers the ride height by 10 millimeters. What's remarkable is the setup controls body roll to the tiniest degree without ever feeling harsh when you're trundling about town. Throw in a sorted steering system that controls all four wheels, and the turn-in response is incredible. Of course, the driver can adjust everything to suit. In Sport Plus, this car devoured the pylon test like a pre-track snack and gave me a new appreciation for fast and dialed in. You know, there's absolutely no getting around the fact that this is one very seriously expensive car. But there's an old saying, you get what you pay for. Unfortunately, I'll never find out firsthand.
So here's the question, where were you 32 years ago? I know some of you weren't even a glint in your father's eye. As for me, well, I was in diapers but found time to get Motoring TV off the ground. And today I like to think we've got one of the best automotive video libraries in the world. If you agree, please give us the thumbs up and also subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.